The year is 1274, and across the Sea of Japan, an unstoppable force is moving like a shadow on the horizon. A massive fleet stretches as far as the eye can see, hundreds of ships sent by Kublai Khan, carrying Mongol, Chinese, and Korean soldiers, united under one single terrifying goal: the invasion of Japan. Their first target lies ahead, the small but strategically vital island of Tsushima, a rugged outpost standing between the Korean peninsula and the Japanese mainland. On the island, the local governor, Susukuni, surveys the sea from a rocky cliff. He is a seasoned samurai, a man who has lived and breathed the code of Bushido, and yet even he cannot ignore the overwhelming odds. With only around 80 samurai and their retainers under his command, he knows reinforcements will not come. His men are fewer than 100 against thousands. Every logical thought screams surrender, yet surrender is not a choice a samurai can embrace. In the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire is a force of nature, a juggernaut forged by Genghis Khan and expanded by his descendants into the largest land empire the world has ever known. By 1271, Kublai Khan has conquered nearly all of China, establishing the Yuan dynasty, but his ambition is insatiable. His gaze turns eastward across the sea to Japan, a land whose people have lived in isolation, untouched by the power of the Mongols and unprepared for the storm approaching their shores. For the Japanese, real power lies not in the distant emperor in Kyoto, but with the Kamakura shogunate, the military government ruled by samurai, men whose entire lives are devoted to honor, skill, and loyalty. Their society is ritualized combat, where courage and martial skill define a man's worth, and the very concept of submission is foreign. The first contact with the Mongols came years earlier, in 1268, when a letter arrived from Kublai Khan. It was not a friendly greeting or an invitation to diplomacy, it was an ultimatum: submit and become a vassal state or face invasion. For Kublai Khan, this is standard practice, yet for the Japanese samurai it is an intolerable insult. They refuse, sending the envoys home with a message of defiance, a silent warning that their spirit cannot be broken. By 1274, Kublai Khan is ready. From the ports of Korea, a fleet of nearly 900 ships is assembled, a floating army of war carrying thousands of seasoned warriors, a vessel of conquest aimed at Tsushima. The calm of the island is about to be shattered, and Susukuni knows that when the horizon is swallowed by the advancing fleet, the quiet life of his people will end, and history will demand a choice: surrender and survive dishonorably, or fight against impossible odds with nothing but courage, skill, and honor to guide them. On the morning of November 4th, 1274, the first lookouts on Tsushima's rocky cliffs glimpse a sight that chills even the bravest hearts. The horizon is obscured by a forest of ship masts, hundreds of vessels cutting through the sea like a wall of steel and wood. The Mongol invasion has arrived, and their presence is overwhelming. Panic brushes across the island, but duty and honor hold firmer than fear. Susukuni, aware of the hopelessness of the situation, rallies his men. Around 80 mounted samurai and their retainers prepare for a fight they know they cannot win, yet surrender is unthinkable. To a samurai, the choice is not victory or defeat. It is honor or shame. Logic demands yielding, yet every fiber of their being resists. That night, as the Mongols begin landing silently under the cover of darkness, Susukuni makes a final attempt at diplomacy, sending an emissary to parley with the invaders. The answer comes swiftly and violently. Arrows rain down, cutting short any hope of negotiation. Conquest, not discussion, is the Mongols' only language. Amid the tension, a fire reportedly erupts at the local shrine to Hachiman, the god of war, and white doves are said to circle above the flames. A sign, many believe, of divine presence. Susukuni takes this as an omen, a signal that their courage will be tested and their actions remembered. Armor is laced, swords drawn, and the samurai ride toward Komoda beach, their faces set with determination. They are not attempting to defend the island. They are preparing to die with honor. Each man knows that every step forward is a step into near-certain death. Yet each step also carries the possibility of legend. The quiet before dawn is shattered by the roar of the sea and the pounding of countless war drums from the Mongol ships, a rhythmic herald of the chaos to come. As the samurai wait on the sands, the first glimmers of sunrise illuminate an enemy that stretches beyond comprehension. The beach is a stage for a clash between two entirely different ways of war, one rooted in individual heroism, precision, and ritual, the other in disciplined formations, coordinated volleys, and overwhelming numbers. And in that still, tense moment, the fate of Tsushima begins to unfold. Before the first light of dawn, the Mongol forces surge onto Komoda beach, their disciplined ranks cutting through the morning mist like a relentless tide. The samurai, though vastly outnumbered, meet them with precision and courage born of decades of martial training, and a code that values honor above life itself. Arrows streak across the sand as Susukuni's men release volleys with deadly accuracy, targeting commanders and officers, their longbows singing a song of defiance. Then the samurai draw their long tachi swords, their blades gleaming as they charge forward in tight formations, each warrior shouting his name and lineage, seeking glory in individual duels as is their way. But the Mongols care little for ritual or honor. They advance in unyielding phalanxes, a wall of shields moving in perfect coordination, their war drums pounding like the heartbeat of conquest. Their archers, wielding short composite bows, unleash volleys that darken the sky, creating a storm of arrows impossible to evade. And then come the weapons that shatter the samurai's understanding of war, the tetsuha or thunder crash bombs, early gunpowder explosives hurled into their ranks. The explosions tear through the air with deafening roars, spewing smoke, fragments, and panic. Horses rear and panic, cavalry charges falter, and the battlefield transforms into a chaotic maelstrom of fire, smoke, and blood. Yet, despite the terror and overwhelming numbers, the 80 samurai fight with a ferocity that astounds their enemies. Every charge is precise, every strike calculated, their skill with the sword unmatched. Some accounts claim a single warrior cut down dozens of foes, their names etched into legend. Susukuni leads wave after wave, his figure a symbol of defiance, a living testament to the samurai's code. The clash is brutal, a violent collision of two worlds, one of disciplined, collective might, the other of individual courage and mastery. And though the beach is slowly being swallowed by the Mongol tide, the samurai's resolve remains unbroken, their spirit blazing as a beacon of defiance even in the face of near-certain death. Despite their ferocity and unmatched skill, the 80 samurai are gradually consumed by the relentless Mongol horde. For every invader they fell, 10 more stepped forward, an endless wave that threatens to crush their lines and drown their courage in sheer numbers. The sands of Komoda beach are slick with blood, and the air is thick with smoke, sweat, and the deafening roar of war drums and explosions. The samurai fight on, their swords a blur, their armor scuffed and dented, yet their resolve never falters. Wave after wave of Mongols advance, each formation stronger and better coordinated than the last, and still the samurai charge, refusing to retreat. Their numbers dwindle rapidly. Comrades fall beside them, their cries mingling with the screams of the dying and the thunderous roar of tetsuha bombs exploding in the sand. Yet even as the tide of enemy soldiers surrounds them, Susukuni refuses to surrender. Recognizing the inevitability of death, he gathers the few remaining warriors for one final, desperate charge, driving straight into the heart of the Mongol army. They swing their blades with unmatched precision, cutting down any who cross their path, becoming a whirlwind of steel and honor in the midst of chaos. In this last blaze of defiance, Susukuni himself falls, struck down amidst the horde he could not defeat, yet dying with the dignity and courage of a true samurai. By sunset, Komoda beach is littered with the bodies of the fallen, the sand darkened by the sacrifice of men who chose honor over life. The Mongols claim the island as a victory, yet it is a costly one. Every death of a samurai is etched into the memory of the invaders, a reminder that courage, skill, and indomitable spirit cannot be measured by numbers alone. Nearby Iki Island suffers a similar fate, its defenders annihilated, its people terrorized. The Mongol war machine appears unstoppable, its fleet turning toward Japan's mainland, but the sacrifice at Tsushima and Iki has achieved a purpose beyond mere military outcome. it has bought precious time. A warning carried by the few survivors who escaped to the mainland, carrying tales of courage, defiance, and a spirit that no army, no matter how great, can fully extinguish. Though Tsushima and Iki have fallen, the few surviving samurai escape to warn the mainland, carrying urgent messages to the Kamakura shogunate. The Mongols are coming, and their forces are vast and relentless. The news spreads like wildfire, igniting both fear and resolve across Japan. The courage and sacrifice of Susukuni and his 80 warriors become a symbol, a rallying cry for a nation facing an unprecedented threat. When the Mongol fleet finally reaches Hakata Bay, they are no longer met by unprepared villagers but by a well-organized and fortified defense. Samurai, having learned from the warnings, abandon the old codes of single combat and dueling in favor of collective strategy. Fortified positions, night raids from small boats, and coordinated strikes against the massive enemy ships. For weeks, the battle rages with fierce intensity, yet nature itself intervenes. A mighty storm strikes the Mongol fleet, sending hundreds of ships smashing against each other and the shoreline, drowning thousands in the turbulent waters. The Japanese later call this divine wind, or kamikaze, a force that turns the tide in their favor. Kublai Khan, enraged but persistent, launches a second invasion in 1281, assembling an even larger force, yet the Japanese are ready. Stone walls protect Hakata Bay, organized defenses repel the landings, and again a second, more devastating kamikaze obliterates almost the entire Mongol fleet. The dream of conquering Japan dies in the storm, yet the legend of the 80 samurai endures far beyond the battlefield. Their stand is not measured in victory or defeat, but in courage, honor, and the power of the human spirit against impossible odds. They are remembered as the embodiment of Bushido, a story of sacrifice that inspires generations. Though they were destined to lose the battle, their names and deeds are immortal, proof that some principles, honor, duty, and bravery, are worth dying for. Tsushima may have fallen, but the legend of Susukuni and his warriors becomes the cornerstone of Japan's identity. A tale whispered in temples, written in chronicles, and etched forever in the heart of a nation that would rise prepared, unyielding, and victorious against any who dared challenge it.